Muschamp make some opening remarks. We'll open up for questions. We'll follow that with Florida players.
Well, just, you don't even give yourself a chance to win. You turn the ball over, 2 special teams touchdowns. Every single point they have leads to points. 6 sacks, you don't protect the quarterback, changes the game and how you got to play, going in the second half there. But, offensively just abysmal. Just don't have any rhythm, and we got to figure out what we can do to try and move the football. But 6 turnovers, I mean, that's hard to overcome. You get a quarterback running back exchange, trying to pull it for the pop pass down the middle. Running back clamps the ball. We have an issue there. They don't get any points off that. But a fumble recovery for a touchdown, an interception for a touchdown, start the game with a kickoff return for a touchdown. Ball's not kicked where it's supposed to be kicked. The guy's supposed to kick it deep left. He kicks it right down the middle. They bring the return back to the field. Stresses the coverage, punt return. We don't tackle a guy, don't front the ball up. So, just at the end of the day, you're not going to win many games turning the ball over 6 times, giving up 14 points on special teams. Defensively, I thought our kids played well enough to win the game. Bottom line, they didn't have to do much, and they figured that out pretty quickly after it got to be about 28-0 that they weren't going to have to do much in the game. So, very disappointed in the performance. It falls on my shoulders. Nobody's looking around right now. We just we got to get back and get our guys dialed back in. And I know we all want to drop back and throw it, but there's a reason why we can't. And you saw tonight when we got in a drop back game, we struggled tremendously to protect, to hold the edges. We've got to be able to put it in a situation right now where we've got to protect the quarterback and protect that position. So I'll open it up for any questions.
Thomas.
Will, why wasn't Brandon Powell involved more early on?
Well, we weren't getting much of anything going. There was a lot of edges. We were chipping on the edges a lot with our backs. Matt and Kelvin and those guys did a nice job of that. So, again, I don't think that would have been the answer. Quite frankly, we had a lot more issues other than who was playing at the running back position.
Edgar.
Well, what do you tell the team at this point after a game like this?
Well, we'll meet tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and I told them, anytime you go have one like this, you look in the mirror and figure out what we need to do to improve, and that's what some of our guys need to do is look in the mirror and they need to play better, in some situations, and that's what we're going to do.
Sorry about that. How do you restore Jeff's confidence toward the end?
Well, it's tough, but Jeff's a tough kid, and he's been through some tough times before, but certainly, got his arm hit on the one interception. We had a double move down the sideline to D-Rob, and he gets clipped on the elbow. Again, we'll go back and figure out how we can restore our confidence of not just Jeff, but our entire offense right now, because it's not very good.
Jeff.
Well, what's your take on why this snowballed so early? I mean, the kickoff return then turned into another turnover and on and on and on.
Well, again, the kickoff return, our kickoff coverage has been outstanding all season. We never had any issues. We felt good going in the game. Murphy's a good player, but we felt like that we could have covered better. When you don't kick the ball the way we squeeze the field the right place, it creates issues. And Austin kicked the ball right down the middle. That's always an issue. And they brought the return back to the field, and they did a nice job of executing, and we didn't. So that's where it starts. We felt like we were moving the ball offensively. We had a vertical route to the tight end, which was wide open on the exchange. It should have been pulled. The running back clamped the ball probably, and I would fault both guys in that situation as far as the exchange was concerned. But then we come back and get an interception. The kids on defense playing well, So get the interception there and get a little momentum, hopefully trying to go back our way. Then the punt return was a dagger for us. Now that hurt. In essence, from the standpoint of it changed the game. They got 2 very good defensive ends, and when you give them 2 two-man services, which we'd had 2 at points in the game, to try and create some, a big play, trying to throw the ball down the field. And when you create a short edge for those guys, they're pretty good, and we didn't protect as well as we have, and a little bit of that has to do with we've been protecting ourselves a lot offensively because we've had to. And that's just, call it like it is. That's real. And we've put ourselves in a situation right now that's, not good for, for that type of game,
Did you see some heads hanging at some points in the first half, kind of reminiscent of last year?
No, I don't think so. I think that, I always look at the entire team, and I think our defense played their butts off. And I think that offensively, to go down and have score, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter says a lot about our kids, and they're working and trying. And we just got to narrow down to some things that we do well, which right now is not much. So figure it out.
And the 2-quarterback approach, is that something that you might have been a detriment in terms of rhythm, cadence, those kinds of
No,
adjustments?
I don't think so. We didn't have any procedural issues. I don't, so I don't know that that's an issue.
Jonathan over here to the left, and then Kevin.
Coach, Jeff at the end of the first half gets injured, gets taken to the locker room. What injury was that?
He just got the breath knocked out of him, and he had a pretty good shot from the last ball game on his back, and it flared up a little bit on him, but that was it.
And your evaluation of Treon today?
I thought he did some nice things. We're a little limited in the throwing game as far as changing protections and typical freshman quarterback things that when they show an overload, you'd like to be able to change the protection to the other side. There's some things that he hasn't been exposed to as much as far as the drop back passing game. That's why we came back in the second half and started the second half with Jeff. We felt like we were going to have to start throwing the football down the field more to create some plays for us. They were playing tight, especially with their safeties, and try and get them off of us a little bit, and just a little further along with those things. But I thought when he went in the game and did the things we asked him to do, he did a nice job.
Kevin
He's a
over
good
the right.
football player.
How would you describe maybe your team's preparation during the week, and was there anything that you saw that could signal
I
this
think
time
we
of
had good
performance?
preparation throughout the week. You turn it over 6 times, you're not going to win. It wasn't from a lack of effort. It wasn't from a lack of trying. It was a lack of ball security, protection at times. So those are things we got to clean up.
And just following up on that ball security issue, at what point, because you've stressed turnover margins since you've been here, at what point do you consider benching guys that have proven to be turnover prone?
Well, always talk in terms of that. We got to take better care of the football. That's bottom
Zach in
line.
front.
Yeah.
Well, I know you said it got to a point in the game where you felt like Missouri's offense wasn't having to do a lot, but just how deflating and disappointing is it for your defense when they go out and have a performance like they did and they just get no help in return?
Well, you didn't really stress them very much. We had a situation our first year at Florida State, and I don't think they had 100 yards, but they get to a point with a score, they don't have to stress themselves very much as what they're trying to do offensively. So that's twofold. But again, it's a team game, and we could have created some turnovers on defense. We had some opportunities. Marcus made a nice play on the interception. Strip the ball off somebody. Make a play, and that's our mentality. We don't get into the pointing finger stuff. We're not going to do that.
And then you talked about last year when the losses started happening about the woe is me mentality that started
We're
affecting.
fine. Our guys. We got a prideful bunch. We had a tough loss last week, and came out tonight and just didn't do a good enough job. Yep.
Any final questions for Coach? Jonathan over here.
Coach, after a loss like this, what do you have to say to your fans, to the fan base?
Well, our fans have been great, and I really appreciate the support. The last night, the Gator Growl was outstanding. Our fans to start the game were outstanding. We need to play better, and I just keep hanging with us. We're going to need to go over in Jacksonville, get this thing fixed, and that's what we plan on doing.
Did you hear the chants from the alumni section, Fire Muschamp?
No, I didn't.
Edgar.
What do you feel about your job security at this point?
I'm really worried about this football team right now and getting back at 3 o'clock at a team meeting and sitting down with them and making sure they need to understand the things we need to do to improve and get better. And that's really what I'm worried about. I'm not going to get concerned in those things I don't have any control of other than this team. And I think that's the most important thing right now.
Jeff.
Well, when the game was still very much in play, third down on both sides of the ball continued. That's been a problem throughout the season. Is that kind of indicative of a team struggling to play winning football?
Well, I wouldn't just point at third down. I'd point at ball security offensively. I'd point at 2 special teams issues. Certainly third downs. We had the one situation where we the 3rd and 15 that we had a pass rush game planned. That we felt like they'd throw it in that situation. They didn't. They ran a quarterback draw. But we just need to go back. We spent a lot of time on third downs in practice and good on good and going against each other. And those are things we got to continue to improve.
Thanks, guys.
All righty.